You've mentored generations of neurosurgeons and scientists, including Dr. Agi, and many of whom are now leaders themselves. So, when you're mentoring someone, what do you pay the most attention to, and what makes you believe that a trainee or young neurosurgeon is now ready to lead?
I think that mentoring, it's an interesting phenomenon. I think a lot of mentees, I almost say that the ones that need the least mentoring are the ones that succeed the most a lot of times, because they seem to kind of know what they want to do. And sometimes I just feel as a mentor that your job is really just to steer them the correct way, try to open up doors. But a lot of them are, most of the time, they're very independent on their own. And I think that, I think sometimes you'll have clearly mentees that will have times of second thoughts, and you can help them through that. But I find that with most mentees, my main job is really to try to help them figure out on their own what they're doing, how are they going to get there, is this the best path forward for them, and and how can I help? Um, a lot of times, there's a little role modelship too, showing how you approach things. And I think ultimately, I think what Jake said and what his dad told him, it can never be for secondary gain. People think I want to do this because I'm going to become famous. I'm going to win a Nobel Prize. I'm going to become extremely wealthy. I want to do this. I'm going to do that. The problem with, and there's definitely a little bit of that always, but that cannot be the major driver because those drivers tend to extinguish you. They don't last because it is just too hard. You know, it's a long process. If you think about it, most neurosurgeons done college, then they take a gap year to get into medical school. A lot of them do MD PhDs or extra time for research. Then they get into residency. That's a 7-year program. And then nowadays they do fellowships. It's just a really long road. And if you're trying to keep up also your science portion. And if you're not doing it because you love it, if you're not doing it because you have passion for it, and you're doing it for other secondary reasons, um, you're not gonna be able to do it. It's just too hard. It cannot be work. You cannot feel it's work. You gotta feel that's a passion, something that you really enjoy, adore. And people asked me when I was applying for medical school, if you didn't get into when I applied for residency, if you did not become a neurosurgeon, what would you do? And my answer was, I don't know. I don't think I'd do any other specialty. I would not try to do something else. To me, neurosurgery was it. And neurosurgery and the scientific parts of it. And so it's almost like you have no other love. This is the love that you want to foster, that you want to be with. And it's really not about fame, fortune, money, prestige. All that's there, definitely, but it's not, it's less than 5% of it all.
Just to complete your sayings, I heard sometime a quote that said that the best answer for the question, why do you love something, is I don't know, because in the moment that you take it from the person, would you like stop loving? That doesn't make sense. So I think it goes very in accordance with what you said. I think it's very important to think about that and to have an initial mindset towards what you really want and you really love. Thank you.
Yeah, it is becomes very innate, very into it. I always tell people that the first time I scrubbed and saw a live beating brain, it's a moment I'll never forget. And I said, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Some people become squeamish or say, oh my God, I don't want to do this again. And I just fell in love with that picture.